How a personal trainer remains calm in a busy lifestyle that I've got. All right, I'm going to talk today in one of the ways that I remain calm. And for those of you watching on YouTube, or you can see in the thumbnail, I'm holding up here a candle. I'm yet to use it, and there you go. There's the inside. Smells nice. This candle is called Aroma Archives, if you can see it there. Aroma Archives. And I think I paid about, oh, here we go. I paid £8 for it, okay, which is, I suppose, quite cheap in comparison to these fancy candles that you see in expensive designer shops, usually women's departments or women's shops or shops that are aimed at women. But generally, a naked flame is a naked flame. A candle doesn't know whether it's in a woman's house or a man's house. This one happens to be in my house, okay, and obviously it's a man's house. Now, why am I holding this up? Well, another way that I can remain calm, ordinarily, it's through good forms of exercise, good forms of self-discipline, good forms of nutrition. For the most part, average sleep, sometimes good sleep, but generally average sleep, and the self-discipline to know when to stay at home, batten down the hatches and lock the doors. But as I've got older, and which is a fact, and which is a matter of opinion, as I've got possibly wiser, I've incorporated a few things into my lifestyle or my life to help me remain calm. Okay, and that's not because I'm agitated. That's not because I'm an emotional and physical and biological mess. I don't take narcotics. I rarely drink alcohol, and obviously I don't smoke or vape. I'm educated in anatomy and physiology. I'm educated in energy systems and nutrition and soft tissue injuries, being a sports massage therapist. So how do I remain calm? Well, actually, in the last 4 years, I've done some extensive travel. I've traveled across the Far East, Asia. I call it the Far East, or the Orient, for those of you for age 50 and above. I traveled across Nepal, Kathmandu and the Himalayas in Nepal. I traveled across Japan, Tokyo and Kyoto in Japan, and I traveled across China, Hong Kong, whether that's China or not is a matter of opinion, Shanghai and the Hunan Mountains. So traveling across three major countries across the Asian continent. And I saw how some of the men and women there, they have things in their cultures, so they have things in their pastimes or their hobbies that could be hundreds, if not thousands. And I suspect it's the latter. I suspect it's thousands of years old traditions and culture to help them remain calm. And one of those things is light in the form of candles. Now, I've actually lit a candle way before I started traveling across Asia. I think the first time I went to Asia was in 1997. I went with my then girlfriend. I went to South Korea, and of course I, not long finished 9 years in martial arts in Taekwondo. So I was fascinated to see South Korea, and I saw there back when I was 26, 27, how the people of Seoul in South Korea remained calm. And one thing again, part of tradition, was light and how to create light. And again, the naked flame candles. How do we remain calm? Yeah, okay, well, it's actually, it's not an admission. I used to think that candles were simply for generating a form of light. That may be the case, turn of the century, 18th, 19th century London, but certainly it would have been around for thousands of years before, just to create a form of light and possible warmth. But what I've found, it also creates a form of calmness, or for want of another word, tranquility. I light a candle in my house, usually if I've been cooking food on the hob, using a wok, using a steamer, sometimes even using the oven. And of course the kitchen smells, all the food smells go around the kitchen and the dining room. And I've got a moderately sized kitchen and dining room, and but still, I come down after taking a shower in the evening. You come down after you had your dinner, and you can still smell all the food and the cooking. And you can do your washing up, put everything away, wipe things down and what have you, air the windows out as long as it's not pouring down with rain. And but still, so what I do now is I light a candle, and it creates a nice smell within half an hour, just to get rid of the cooking smells. Sometimes could even light a candle when I'm not cooking, when I'm watching a movie at night in the living room. I've had a long busy day or a long busy week, and I want to just sit down for an hour or two and watch a movie. and I might put a candle on, even though I've got perfectly good ceiling lights and lamps as well. I like the light, I like the calmness of it. It creates, and I've got a degree of colour blindness as well, so I can't actually explain exactly what colour it gives off. You know, orange, yellow, I don't know. What I do know is I like the look of it, and if they're scented, I like the smell, depending on what the smell are. I once dated a woman years ago, and she liked candles in her house. She was a woman, she had about 1,000 candles. She had more candles than food, but that's for another story. But actually she said to me, Tristan, we were talking about it once, and she was talking about how I decorated my house, how compared to how she decorated hers. And yes, to some degree, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, everything's subjective within reason. And she quoted, I can't remember the exact lines, she says, even your candles in your house are men candles or blokes candles. Oh yeah, I said, oh yeah, why is that? How do you figure that? And she said, well, you've got black candles. And okay, well, I like the colour black because it's a colour I can see. With my partial colour blindness, I can always see black. I think I'm wearing a black t-shirt and a black cap, and there's a black microphone. And I said, okay, what does that tell you? And she said, well, it's like a bloke's candle. She said, it's like a masculine candle. And I thought about it and thought, well, yeah, okay, yeah. But I've got white candles in my house. I've got those little tea tree candles that you use just to actually light up a house or whatever. They're not scented or anything like that. And I've also got what I think are sort of burgundy or dark red coloured ones. I think I had those on at Christmas. I bought them for about £1.50 a pop in the sale. They smelt nice, they looked nice. And actually it was interesting how that then girlfriend at the time had actually made a decision that the candles in my house were men's candles, blokes candles, something like a masculine candle. And what I thought about after that, not necessarily the same day, but perhaps week, month, year later, I don't remember, was that there's probably a bit of truth in that as well. That a man can actually light candles in his house because how it looks and how it smells, even if, like me, the man lives on his own, I suppose even if you're a married man and you've got a wife and kids at home, you could still light a candle. Don't just leave it up to the missus, You might get girly candles. They could be pink and yellow and purple and whatnot, and smell like a kid's birthday party, and that's not what you want in your house, unless the kids have lit it, and I don't suggest you let them do that, yeah? Ways of remaining calm. Well, actually, candles aside, the most important way of remaining calm is to balance our nervous system. Now, the nervous system it's almost it's self-regulating to some degree. It's split primarily into two: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Excuse me. Now, the sympathetic nervous system gets you ready, fight or flight, gets you ready to run, jump, throw something, job interview, first date, driving through heavy traffic, weight training, working out, anything like that. And the parasympathetic nervous system, think parachute, calms you down and brings you back down again after you've had that need for an adrenaline spike and a nervous system spike, yeah? Balance your own nervous system. And the most important way of doing that, or I think the most effective way of doing that, now this is long term, this is not a short term fix, is good sleep. Yeah, good sleep, then good nutrition, and then exercise. In that order. You can go and lift as many weights as you want, do as many park runs as you want with your friends, boys clubs, girls clubs, doesn't matter. You can drink as many protein drinks and creatine drinks as you want if you want. If you sleep poorly on a consistent basis, your nervous system is jeopardized. When the nervous system is jeopardized, you are less calm. Possibly not throughout the entire day. You'll make bad decisions or poor decisions, or in some cases even worse, indecision. So therefore, it's imperative that as a fit, healthy, strong man, or if you're watching woman, girl or boy, you maintain a degree of calm. I'm a huge music fan. I would say I'm possibly more a fan of music than I am of fitness. That may come as a surprise to some, but if you look behind me here, you'll see some of the greats. We've got Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Kool and the Gang, And these are all originals that I've had put in frames. I've been collecting music since I was, on cassette at least, since I was about 11 or 12 years of age, and from mid to late teens on vinyl. And here I am now, 55 years of age, and I play certain types of music on vinyl, but I also play it through the television screen, through YouTube or through Spotify or Amazon. I'm a big fan of New York hip hop, not rap, hip hop. I'm a big fan of jazz, but I'm also a big fan of movie scores, you know, from Hans Zimmer to Ennio Morricone. I like to Samuel Barber, those classic scores as well, Adagio for strings, right across to a score from the spaghetti westerns you can see in the back there on that wall. That's an original poster from a 1960s movie. Yeah, Saboteur, a spaghetti western movie, and that was a gift from my family. Now, if you may have another way of remaining calm, and I would suggest the first thing you do is address your sleep, okay? And if you don't sleep your 7 hours unbroken, 8 hours unbroken, you can do other things throughout the day to remain calm. And for me, it's lighting candles and listening to music. And actually, I'm also a big fan of listening to Japanese or Chinese tranquil music as well. I like it in the background. Yeah, it calms the nervous system down and can help to calm you down. There are other ways to make yourself calm or help calm yourself down when you're at home, okay? And that is reading a book, watching or listening to a documentary on something that won't actually agitate you or trigger you. It could be something, you know, talking about how to make something out of wood, how to make something out of paper, you know. Whatever floats your boat, that keeps you calm. You know, sitting up till 11 o'clock at night on your laptop in your bed's not going to do it for you. Even if you're watching a program about, you know, how to paint walls, you're still watching a computer screen, your laptop. That's not going to help. Sex, intimacy, intercourse, sexual contact and intimacy is one of the best ways to remain calm after the fact. And that's biology, not an ideology. That's biology and physiology. Good sex, okay, for men and for women, after the temperatures come down, so to speak, and after the magic's happened, everyone's calmer after that because we're less agitated. Our sex hormones are after that, we're in the parasympathetic state, okay? But a sexual health therapist would know more about that than me. That's for another story. All right, how does a personal trainer remain calm? Candles, it helps me. It might help you, gents. Don't be shy. Don't think it's something just for the girls or the missus to buy. Go and get one yourself. Get a bloke candle, a masculine candle. If half of Japan, China, Nepal, Asia, South America, they can't all be wrong, you know what I mean? So let's light a candle and keep calm. My name's Tristan Lowe, the channel's Health No Filter. I'm a 17-year qualified personal trainer and sports massage therapist. And here we are now, February 2026. It's a dull day, light a candle and it will brighten it up for you. Feel free to comment, like and subscribe to the channel, Health No Filter. Until the next one, keep calm and work well. Bye for now.